Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast, live from the Victory Lounge, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up.
Woo!
Folks, the Blackhawks have done it.
Yes.
They beat the Arizona Coyotes 2-0. Alex Stalock, fantastic in the game, getting his 10th shutout of the career, and the Blackhawks' first shutout of the season, which is not too surprising. Lucas Reichel played well. Seth Jones played well. We've got a lot to get to in this game, and only an hour to get to it. Before we do, make sure you smash that like button for us.
Yes.
Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you. Make sure you're subscribed or following us there as well. And I'm not going to entertain your tank loss comments today. They're still bad.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Our good friend No Roids Just Rage is inching closer to the ledge.
It's okay.
It's listen, you know, to take a line from Kevin Malone of The Office.
Yes.
It's just nice to win one once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, do not worry that this team is going to now screw up the tank and go on a winning streak. Have you watched this team for 38 games?
Yeah.
They're just where they should be and just where they will be. Winning a game, again, I'm so conditioned to saying losing a game. Winning a game
Roll off the tongue, doesn't it?
against the Arizona Coyotes is not going to screw up this season.
No.
This is a game. The Blackhawks are dead last in the league, but they are not above having a get-right game.
Yeah.
And they needed a game like this.
And they deserved this game.
Yeah.
They played their balls off in this one.
Yes.
And
not like Blake Wheeler, but I mean,
Yeah.
figuratively.
Without Patrick Kane, they had every excuse to come out and suck it up again. But you had your second biggest crowd of the season, behind only the Hossa game.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd was into it. It was Friday night. And the Hawks, aside from the very first shift where it looks like the Coyotes scored right away, we were waiting for that horn to blow because we thought for sure that went in.
It was in. Yeah.
From really, maybe the minute after that happened, Lucas Reichel gets a partial breakaway. It gets poked away nicely, but it's pretty much all Hawks until the third when Coyotes kind of start evening things up a little bit.
Yeah.
But they played really well. They played physical. They played fast. The power play, even though it didn't score, looked fantastic with the puck movement and the shots and the rebounds and all the things that you're supposed to do right. The Hawks did right, and frankly, they deserve to win. Let's start where everybody wants us to start tonight, with Lucas Reichel.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the game where everybody in the press box tweeted out, Lucas Reichel looks like a different dude in this game. And I will say, he was dynamite in the first period. Absolutely flying. He was everywhere. The other two periods, not quite as visible as he was. However, he just looked, if you had any concerns about Lucas Reichel from his previous call-ups, and we're not determining anybody's career based on one game against the Coyotes, of course, but tonight you saw it. You saw Lucas Reichel looking like one of the most skilled guys on the ice, and he was holding his own with Domi and Athanasiou and everybody.
Yeah.
He did not look out of place at any time. He wasn't perfect, but you saw the offensive chops this kid has, and it was tough to not salivate, especially during that first period.
Yeah, he had a couple of chances. I think one opportunity that Max Domi had on a 2-on-1 should have shot the puck, but I think he was clearly trying to get Reichel an opportunity to get his first NHL goal. I mean, but Reichel on his own, he looked like he was playing. We've talked about it the last 2 days leading up to this game. His second of this season with the Blackhawks, and talking about his confidence level and being able to go out and be a bit more offensive and play a bit more freely. He did that. He did that tonight. He made a number of cheeky little passes that, guys who aren't playing with a little confidence, playing with a little pep in their step, don't make those plays. And he was making some of those plays. Like you said, he had a few breakaway chances, partial breakaway chances. He was all over the ice tonight, and we'll talk a little bit more about this because we were talking about this before the show. We'll talk a little bit more in depth later in the show on it. But, Patrick Kane wasn't in the lineup tonight, and I think it's kind of a preview, small sample preview of what we might see over the next season or two, where there may be an opportunity for more players to do a little bit more when other players aren't on the roster.
Yes, that's definitely something I want to spend some time on today, because I was having those thoughts in my head, and when you and I arrived back here for the third, you're like, hey, what about this? And I'm like, you have cracked my brain open. You are saying exactly what I was thinking the entire game. So we're going to get to that for sure. But there's a play in this game from Reichel that I want to point out. Look, we saw the breakaway chance. We saw him using his speed. What Luke talked about yesterday, and if you listened to our show, you heard it, the board battles, the physical strength, the things that he needs to put together yet to become a full-time NHL player. There's a moment in the first period. He's on the left wing along the goal line, and gets kind of, I don't want to say muscled off the puck, but the Coyotes player comes away with the puck. He fights back, gets it back, and with very little room, floats a little backhander pass right out near the slot to Max Domi. It was on the tape. It was perfect. And I didn't see the replay because they didn't really show it. But I want to say it was a no-look pass directly on the tape. There were so many of those little moments today from Reichel that you saw. And I also think you saw for the first time from Reichel a guy who wants to make his presence felt and wants to announce to Luke Richardson and to Kyle Davidson, I belong here.
Yeah.
I belong here. I am good enough 2 days in a row. I'm smart enough and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah.
Lucas Reichel, to me, is NHL ready. Now, pausing that, of course, the Hawks have a plan. Mm-hmm. The plan is to be as bad as possible. The plan is for Rockford to have success. So if he's not here to stay for good, I understand. If I had say in it, I would like him to, but I'm not mad if he doesn't.
Right, yeah.
But as soon as the deadline happens and you assume at least 2 of your top 6 guys are going to be gone, at least that. He's got to be here. He's got to be. He's ready.
Yeah, and even at that point, it'll only be for a little bit, because he will play a factor in the end of the season for the Ice Hogs and into the postseason. But yeah, I mean, in the times that he's been up previously, I feel like we've been asking for Lucas Reichel to look like the top prospect, to look like, a guy who's ready to take the step into the NHL, and he really hasn't had those kinds of opportunities, had those kinds of games. And even, earlier this year when he came up and played the one game against the Devils, it was just like, okay, well, it's, a crazy situation in which he's coming up, played the night before, travel, game in the NHL,
no meal.
Travel home, no meal, no nap. Like, you have to give him a pass. This time, he actually comes up, gets some practice time, gets into the lineup, and has a good game. And I think it's just that has to snowball for him. And he hasn't really had the opportunity for things like that to snowball. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a good jumping off point for him. And hey, he might go back tomorrow to Rockford, because they go on the road to Iowa. Maybe Patrick Kane's ready to come back after sitting out tonight, and they go back to saying, okay, go, kill it in the AHL, and we'll call you back in a few months. But I would like to see him play another game. I would like to see him play on Sunday against Calgary, a team that's going to give you, more to deal with than this Coyotes team can, and see how he responds.
That's a big, heavy, physical team.
Yeah, that's a team that's trying to go to the playoffs.
And I don't know if you're putting yourself in the mind of Luke Richardson, does he want to shelter Reichel from something like that? Or do you say, hey, you played really well against the Coyotes. Let's see what you do against a playoff team. I still believe they're cup contenders. They're going to figure things out.
Maybe
they're tough. The West is wide open in my mind.
Yeah.
So let's see how you do now against the big boys.
Yeah.
See how you fare.
I think the sheltering period should probably be over, because I know he's still, this was game 12 or 13 of his NHL career. But I think, he's had 2 This is his second season in the AHL, second season in North America. He's played against men for the last 4 years when you count his time playing in Germany. Like, I don't think you need to shelter him. I think you let him go. You play him in those situations, and you want him to be part of your top six for the future. Make him part of this top six right now. Who's burying him in the lineup? Nobody. Like, let him go out there and see what you got in him.
We got a $2 super chat from Alton V. Says, "Gotta love a victory Friday." That's for sure.
Gotta love a victory Friday.
Victories are nice, even
Alton
though they're
V for victory.
That's right. And we got a comment from Colin who says, "Reichel is still not strong enough. He played well tonight, but was still outmuscled a lot, especially on the boards." That's true, but I don't think that there's no prospect that comes to the NHL as a complete player. Right? There's no one that's
very rare.
I am joining the NHL as a fully grown, fully developed, ready to go hockey player.
Artemi Panarin.
Well, yeah, but he was a pro in Russia.
He was already 25.
Yeah, it's a different story, right?
Yeah.
It's okay for guys to come up and develop at the NHL level. We talk about the early days of Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook a lot. Look at Patrick Kane as a rookie.
He was a child.
Look at his body size as a rookie compared to now. Yeah. Patrick Kane is ripped. When he was a rookie, he was not.
Yeah, I would like to be at an NHL training program for a year and see what it does for me. It'd be nice.
Exactly. And while Rockford has nice facilities and all those sort of things, it's not the same as Lukas Reichel being here every day with Paul Goodman and the Blackhawks training and strength staff and the dietitians and everything every resource that they have for these guys here. That's what's going to help Reichel grow. It's just, my fear is, yes, I like that they're being patient. Mm-hmm. Now what we need to learn from Kyle Davidson is he over patient? Is he overly cautious? I'm not saying he is. We don't know yet, but it's something to keep an eye on. And look, I get, like I said, yeah, he'll probably go back down at some point this year, and he should. Yeah. But I don't think you do the one game in and send him back thing. After the way he played, and Brent Seney too, we haven't talked about. He played really well too.
Yeah, he did.
So I think if you have a fear of sending these guys back, and after the performances they had, of them getting discouraged and disheartened.
Yes. Yeah, and I think sometimes when guys get rewarded for the way that they've been playing, in the AHL, for some guys it needs to be more than just one game, more than just 10, 12 minutes in one game, because either A, they deserve it from their previous work in the season, or B, they step in and they make a positive impact. So I think Seney had a really good game. I think Reichel had a really good game, and I think you have to allow them to take opportunities to grow more or less Reichel than Seney. Seney's 26. He's been around the block for a little bit. But for Reichel, you got to give him an opportunity to grow at the NHL level, because you can only I feel like with development in the AHL, there's only so much that you can do before you plateau. And I don't think you want players to plateau at the AHL level. Then you get Jeremy Morton, you get Brandon Peary. Like, we want Lukas Reichel to be more than that. Yeah. So I think at some point, as their development is going up, they have to get past that certain level where, okay, now your development can grow because you're playing NHL competition, you're playing NHL minutes. And I think that's something that will play into their confidence, because if they just keep bumping their head on the AHL ceiling, I think you're going to run into a chance where, guys can kind of be like, what else do I have to do to prove myself here, and start to get a little sour. And I think Reichel has handled it pretty well. But just talking with him yesterday, it seemed like he spoke a little bit about trying to be more patient in my game and in his game, and trying to not have to feel like you have to do everything every shift. Yeah. And it kind of seems like he's trying to learn a little bit more patience in the development process as well, and maybe not being in Chicago when he expects to be. Because he said he was just like, I did everything last offseason to make the team, and it was disappointing to not make the team, but I'm making the best of it being in Rockford. And he's top 5 in the AHL in scoring. That's definitely making the best of it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to when Greg joins us to hear what Luke had to say about his game today, because I was so, whether or not he's going to be a great coach, we don't know yet. But covering Luke Richardson is awesome because he's always giving you stuff.
It's been great.
He's giving you information. He's giving you his honest thoughts on guys. And, maybe as the Hawks get better, he'll play it a little, closer to the vest. But he was so open about Reichel and rushing prospects yesterday. It was so good. If you missed yesterday's podcast, go back and listen to it. Luke was just outstanding in that regard. And he was saying, yesterday after practice, like, here is precisely what we need to see from Reichel to make him an NHL player. And he was saying he is not this yet. He was flat out saying yesterday he's not an NHL player.
Yeah.
So who knows what the motivation for that is? He's very honest. He speaks his mind, so maybe he's just saying it. Maybe he was trying to light a fire under Reichel's ass a little bit too.
Maybe.
Because the dude we saw tonight is not the number 27 I've seen in the last, 2+ seasons with him as a Blackhawk. He was a different guy. He was shot out of a cannon to start the game. And yeah, there were a few times he was outmuscled, but it's going to happen. Not everybody is, Brent Seabrook.
Right.
Not everybody is John LeClaire, where you're going to win every board battle.
Yeah, and with Reichel, I think when he fully becomes fully reaches his potential as an NHL player, if he does, I still believe he will with the Blackhawks. When he does that, his game isn't going to be predicated on going into the corners and winning board battles. If he's able to do that, that'd be great. If he's able to sustain, some of the physicality that comes with playing 82 games in the NHL every year, that's ideal. But his game will not live and die on his ability to be physical along the boards and have strength. He's got to be able to take it in the NHL, of course. But I don't think we're in a position where he's going to be playing like Jonathan Toews used to, when he had to be Jonathan Toews of nearly 200 plus pounds,
right?
And have to play that physical kind of game. I think he'll be able to get away with being a bit more of a playmaker, skill guy, where the physical part of things isn't necessarily as important. He's got to get to that NHL standard, but I think he'll get there eventually and be just fine.
I think it was Colin again in the chat when I made the comparison to Patrick Kane and developing at the NHL level. He said, "Well, Reichel is not Kane." That's true, but let's talk about another guy who got into the NHL very quickly, Alex DeBrincat. Alex DeBrincat, as a rookie, is a very different player than he was last year and this year in Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
He is a different player. He grew in size, he grew in speed, and strength, and was able to add that dimension to his game as his NHL career went on. Again, nobody, Connor McDavid, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, on and on and on, no one comes in their rookie year as a fully realized player. Players evolve as their careers go on, and there's nothing about Reichel that I see that says, oh, he absolutely cannot hang in the NHL. And Gunzo says, don't get ahead of yourself. Wait to see him against some better competition. That's what I want to see.
That's what
it's just Calgary on Sunday. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying. Play him Sunday, see how he does against a contender, and if he's floundering, then if he looks lost, okay,
then move on.
Send him back down. Yeah. But I think after a performance like this and a feel-good win like this, I'm not changing much. If Patrick Kane's ready to go, Patrick Kane's back in.
Exactly.
Fine.
Yeah.
Right? You find a way. But I don't know. I do want to see Reichel against better competition, and Calgary's a great example of that.
Yeah, and speaking of players that, are benefiting from consistent playing time and getting some confidence, Ian Mitchell looked great tonight. I think once he's been put into the lineup and given an ability to go out there and play a little bit more freely, not have to worry so much about having to be exactly mistake free. I think it's the same case with Reichel. Go out there, play your game. Don't worry about making mistakes right now. Learn from them so that you can avoid making them, but go out and make them without the worry of being benched or being sent down. I think that's I think that's
another
the
huge
kind
factor.
of environment that is going to help a guy like Reichel. It can help a guy like Ian Mitchell as they have an opportunity to kind of take a step forward in their development this year.
I think Ian Mitchell, too, is another really good example of what we're talking about. And as we've been watching him from coming off the injury to getting back into game shape, now getting a handful of games in a row here, you're starting to see him look more comfortable, look more patient with the puck. Like you just said, not afraid of making a mistake. And we said this about Kirby Dach all last season. You could see a guy out there thinking on the ice. That is the worst thing that a player can do. You've got to use your instincts. You've got to play. You've got to feel confident what you're doing. And the more it goes on, the more we're seeing that from Ian Mitchell. Now, does Ian Mitchell have a future in this organization? It doesn't seem like it, but I don't mind them giving him a look and seeing what's there.
It's the most on the fence it's ever been.
Right,
his
but
future.
I feel like if we had this conversation 3 weeks ago, I feel today more like he might than I did then.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like he has clearly gotten better since first starting the season and has been consistent and has been playing, stringing together a bunch of solid games. At the same time, I was bummed to see Isaac Phillips sit today. But whatever, we're picking nit at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I think
Richardson
was making an attempt to get Caleb Jones back in the lineup because
you have to.
Because Richardson have to. But Richardson in
his mind,
Richardson likes to not have guys sit for extended periods of time, even if Isaac Phillips has been playing relatively well. There's another guy that would greatly benefit from some consistent NHL time and opportunities to play. And but yeah, I think Mitchell is. Again, I feel like I'm saying the same things, but it's the same concept for all these young guys. Is you got to get some opportunities to have some good things roll over to have some momentum, have some confidence, and you play differently that way. Yeah.
Good stuff from Colin today. I appreciate his insights in the post game. Even though we're not totally agreeing on everything, it's really good stuff. He says Reichel will be more like Teuvo. Going into the corners will not be his game. He still needs to be strong in the open ice when being leaned on. He can learn that after the trade deadline. Totally. The more I see him play, the less I feel like he's an NHL center. I think I kind of like him.
I mean, he didn't even play center tonight.
Right. I like him as I think I like him as a winger. And Teuvo, was that yesterday we made that comparison? It might have been
this week.
It was this week for sure.
We've been talking a lot about Reichel this week.
Yeah, so. About Teuvo and people here when he came and it was hyped as this really good prospect and came and was not immediately great like we had been so used to with Saad and Taves and Kane and on and on and on. It took Teuvo some time. People are like, well, this guy sucks. He'll never be anything. He's overhyped. Teuvo is typical of a mid, what was he, 13?
Teuvo was, Reichel was 17. Teuvo was, I want to say 12? No, 21.
Was it that low? Okay.
Because he was the 2012 draft. And I think he was 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, it's a hockey reference. Oh, here we go. 18th.
18th. Okay.
18th overall. So Reichel was 17th. Teuvo's 18th. You're looking. That's kind of it's a good comparison.
Yeah, I think the development paths that they're taking are rather similar. The way they play is similar. Their builds are similar. Like I can't imagine there's anyone else in recent Blackhawks memory that kind of fits the bill better than those two together when you're kind of looking at things. And hey, if Reichel is on that path and can get to a Teuvo level player, woof.
That's a huge win.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yep.
That is a great player that you can use in the rebuilding process to not build upon or not to build for, but you build with.
Exactly. And then you hope whoever their pick
Connor
is
Bedard
this year,
is there.
Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli.
Yeah.
Even if it's Leo Carlson or Matvei Michkov, whoever it ends up being, that will be the guy you hope is the centerpiece of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then
everything else, your Korchinskis, your Del Mastros, they're all part of the next Blackhawks stew of long contention.
Well, while we're waiting for Greg, let's talk about that a little bit.
The stew? It was good minestrone tonight.
Team Canada wins the gold medal
Yes.
with 4 Blackhawks on the
Canada.
roster. Colton Dock, who's hurt, Ethan Del Mastro, Nolan Allen, and Kevin Korchinski. And, Del Mastro was especially really strong for Team Canada. He was absolutely outstanding. Corey Pronman wrote a little thing today saying who were the standouts and who were the players that disappointed. He actually had Kevin Korchinski as a guy who disappointed, but kind of qualified it as, I still think he's going to be great, but we just didn't get to see him assert the offense we thought he would.
Yeah.
I think there's a few reasons for that. I think Canada being up a lot of the times, or defending leads, or not really looking to add goals all the time.
Sure.
He did still, despite playing pretty limited minutes in a tournament, was the highest scoring among the Blackhawks prospects with 4 points.
Yeah.
The other guy he said was Fantilli was a little bit disappointing. Now, I thought Fantilli was better as the medal rounds came.
He was.
And he was very noticeable and good in the gold medal game. And we went and saw him in Michigan. And I think when we left that Notre Dame-Michigan game, we said, I don't know, he didn't look dominant out there. You could tell he was one of the better players. So it's just kind of a reminder of the gap between Bedard and Fantilli. But not to say that he's going to be bad or I would have any second thoughts about drafting him second, but it just shows you how really great Connor Bedard is.
Yeah, I wrote about that, the tournament, the Blackhawks prospects. Greg and I, we covered it in today's Rebuild Report. Go check it out at allchgo.com. Become a diehard to get access to that article and all of our Rebuild Reports. But yeah, I think with Korchinski, it was tough to see him play 4 minutes and 48 seconds against the U.S. in the semifinal and then just over 5 minutes in the gold medal game basically be a non-factor in the 2 biggest games that Canada played. That was rough. But I qualify it with, even though this is his draft year plus appearance in the World Junior Championships, he was the youngest player on that team. He was 18 years old, even though he was a drafted prospect. And the World Junior Championships is notoriously a best of the 19-year-olds in the world tournament, except for a few exceptions like a guy like Connor Bedard. So Korchinski, I have no doubts, will be back with Canada at next year's tournament. He'll still be age eligible to play. And I think he's going to play, a much more significant role on that team, and we'll be able to see. And he'll be a whole year older, a whole year longer into his young development. I think we'll be able to see him be more of a complete defenseman that Canada can rely on. And yeah, with Fantilli, I think if Connor Bedard wasn't in this tournament setting records as a draft-eligible player, I think Fantilli might have had more of an opportunity to kind of step into a bigger role with Canada. But they're such a stacked team. It was their gold medal to lose, honestly. So for Fantilli to be one of the younger players on the team and be able to step in and have moments, I think that was good for him. It's not going to knock him off of the, number 2 spot in the draft class whatsoever. But I think what it did do and what Connor Bedard did was widen that gap between him and Fantilli even more.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Del Mastro, sheesh. He, as a 4th round pick to be where he's at now as a prospect, I'm give credit to Mr. Snowman for finding a player in the 4th round that, as he has developed, has become I would put him in the top 5 of prospects that they have right now.
Yeah.
And he's likely to play in Rockford next year.
Yeah.
And that's very exciting to me. And Del Mastro was part of I'm not sure if it's confirmed, but Jeff Merrick was reporting that Del Mastro is being traded from the Mississauga Steelheads to the Sarnia Sting in the OHL. So he'll be, I think Mississauga was outside of the playoff race. Sarnia, I think, is in the playoff race. So an opportunity for him to play some important games in the OHL down the back half of this year.
When we watched him during development camp, he looked like a pro.
Yeah.
body size, skating ability, smarts. Someone in the chat said he reminds him of Brent Seabrook, and I think that, look, I don't know if he's going to be as good as Brent Seabrook, but in terms of the style of defenseman,
Yeah.
mostly defense with some offensive upside a little bit. I can see that. It would not shock me if Del Mastro plays some games in Chicago next year.
Yeah, he might.
It really wouldn't. And I was reading before the game day, Scott Powers wrote about the Blackhawks and getting to the cap floor next year and mentioned he was like trying to build, okay, well, let's assume this and this and this happened and this and this. He said there's probably some prospects that are going to play in Chicago next year. And you know who he mentioned? Kevin Korchinski. That would shock me.
That would be very surprising.
Just looking at the way that Davidson has been doing things.
Patient.
If
yeah.
Kevin Korchinski plays in Chicago next year, that would be a massive shock to me.
Maybe late next season, like once the WHL season's over, maybe he gets a couple games. But I would be
maybe he does the burn the contract thing like he did with Reichel, so he's cheaper in the second contract.
Sure, maybe, I don't know, but I would be very surprised if he's because with him being so young, he'll be 19 next season, so he can't play in the AHL. So if he's playing NHL games, he's either going to be between junior and Chicago, and you can't yo-yo a guy all that much without eventually burning the first year of his deal. You don't want to Shane Wright him. So,
yeah,
like,
this Shane Wright thing's weird.
It is. And he's on the NHL All-Star ballot. So, folks, do your thing. Let's cause some chaos.
I haven't, speaking of that, I was trying to get my votes in before the game today, and then first guy I wanted to vote for was Jake McCabe.
Yeah.
And I typed in McCabe, and he didn't pop up. Do we have to choose from like a limited selection of players?
Did you go through all the divisions?
I went through like the search bar.
So when you go on to the ballot, it'll start you in, I think, the Metro. Then you pick Metro players, and then you you go to the next page, and you'll do the next division. You have to go one at a time. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say that we should make it our mission.
Blackhawks mission?
A CHGO Blackhawks mission is to get Jake McCabe into the All-Star game. I know it's ambitious.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll happen, but Seth Jones is a Blackhawks
the
All-Star now.
The Central Division has 3 defensemen already there: Morrissey, Makar, and Seth Jones. So I don't know if they're going to take any more defensemen. But you're just with the All-Star voting, you're just voting for skaters. So maybe it's not position. It's not position oriented, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe McCabe. I submitted a ballot, 10 ballots actually, because once you submit the ballot, you can just click resubmit because you can submit 10 in a day. So I just clicked it 9 more times and was just like, all right, that's my contribution. I had Alex Stalock on it.
No, that's fair too.
Talk about a guy who, like, someone in the chat earlier was saying, is Alex Stalock playing his way into a trade piece? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He, with his shutout tonight, he might be flirting with a .920 save percentage on the year. Like, that is well above league average. And the Alex Stalock experience is quite the experience, but numbers don't lie. If you're putting up a 9...
Neither do hips.
Yeah. If you're putting up a 918, 919 save percentage on this Blackhawks team, like, there's some value there. And there are going to be teams, as this season progresses to the trade deadline, there are going to be teams that, whether it's injury or shaky play in net, are going to be looking for, hey, maybe we can have a different option as a backup. Or our starter's hurt, we don't trust our backup. We need someone who can come in and give us a chance. And I think Alex Stalock is when he's been healthy, has been the best Blackhawks goaltender and is playing very well.
If we're looking at goalies with more than 10 games played, save percentage-wise, Alex Stalock is 6th, behind Linus Ullmark, Connor Hellebuck, Ilya Sorokin, Philip Gustafsson, and Craig Anderson.
Craig Anderson.
Ahead of Jake Ottinger.
Yeah.
Ahead of Andrei Vasilevsky.
He's been playing really well.
Yeah. All right, I changed my mind.
Either one. Put them both on the ballot, and we'll stuff the ballot box as a Blackhawks group.
Speaking of all-stars, Greg Boysen is standing by. We're going to get to him momentarily, but first we want to tell you about our friends at Shady Rays. They never understood why sunglasses were so damn expensive, so they changed it. You don't have to break the bank this winter for quality sunglasses because Shady Rays has you covered. Their sunglasses are premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone in every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us they'll send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Drop them in a lake, off a cliff, anything, and they will replace them. Even with that strong of a protection program, they still manage to make quality that I can tell you from holding in my hand and wearing on my face just as good as any expensive pair that I have ever worn. Shady Rays customers seem to agree with over 200,000 five-star reviews. They also provide 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order placed and have donated over 20 million meals to date. They stand behind their product and told our team that if anyone has a problem, they will throw profit out the window and do what it takes to make it right. Free returns and exchanges. You either love the shades or Shady Rays will pay to ship them back. That's it. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use the code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. That's buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades.
We're also proudly presented by Athletic Greens, and they are proud to present their AG1 formula, which is designed to improve your gut health, optimize your immune system, and give you more natural energy. In just one scoop of that AG1 formula, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food-sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens that help you start or end your day right. And if you eat if you eat with different dietary restrictions, if it's gluten-free or dairy-free, or you go keto or whatever it is, with AG1, you're able to incorporate it into that diet, and you're able to incorporate it into your life no matter how busy you might be, because it's just a small, once-a-day habit with big benefits. Just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. That's all you need. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health, because right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. To make it even easier, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Good comment from Brent. Stay locked for the Masterton. Sounds like a good off-day topic. All right, he's the man. He's with us now. Greg Boysen, live from the United Center. Follow him on Twitter at Greg Boysen. Greg, what's up? What did we learn today?
We learned that winning is fun, and it makes guys a little easier to talk to after a victory. It also makes us wait a little longer to call in, because Luke always has to do TV post-game first after a win before he comes and has his regular press conference. I know we're not used to those situations this season, but that's why it took a little longer to call in, because he had to take care of the unoriginal guys over at NBC Sports before he came and talked to the rest of us. Hey, before we go any farther, I want to give a shout out. Speaking of awesome people, CHGO's own Kevin Wells. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but he got to do some radio on WGN, filling in for Joe Brandt, who was filling in for John Weideman. And I talked to him a little after the game. He said he had an awesome time sitting next to and chatting with Chris Chelios all night. So I'm very jealous and proud of our Kevin Wells.
He did great. We listened to him and during the intermission, driving from the UC to here, and you would never know there was a substitute in there. He sounded fantastic. So good job, Kevin. We are proud of you and envious, because that has always been my dream job. Radio pre and post for the Hawks.
Yeah, well, now you're here.
It wasn't until now. This is my dream job now.
Sorry to disappoint you,
no,
Jay.
this is even better because I can talk shit about the Hawks if I want to and not worry about my job. And I don't have to wear a suit ever.
That's true.
It's true. But Kevin pulls off the suit very well.
He does. He looks sharp.
Up very nicely. He didn't have the turtleneck on tonight. I like when he goes with the turtleneck in the suit. Looks like a James Bond villain.
Yeah.
What do we think, and what did we hear, more importantly, from Luke about Lukas Reichel's game?
He said the words excellent, the words great were used. He says that he was told, he's only seen him in his little spurts here with the team, but said he was told from others that was the best game he's played in the NHL. And that is easy to agree with. He was the Lukas Reichel we've seen in Rockford, in Chicago for the first time. That first period, those first few shifts, he was like, this is my world, and the rest of you chumps are just living in it. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to cash in, but man, he was a difference maker early. He was noticeable. He used his speed to create chances. And he made, we saw a little bit of what Luke Richardson talks about when he says he needs Lukas Reichel to be stronger. There are a couple plays where he was taken off the puck rather easily, a lot easier than you want, but those are things that are going to come as he gets bigger and stronger and plays in the league more often. But there was the one play I tapped Jay and said, that's what Luke is talking about. And then, like, literally as I'm telling him that, he makes this great behind-the-back pass from out of the corner, and you're like, well, okay, so, way to make up for getting taken off the puck. That was the game, I think, minus a goal being scored. That was the game I think all Blackhawk fans wanted to see out of him. That's what we've been waiting for. A little excitement. Got to play on the top line, and he didn't confirm it, but it certainly sounds like he's going to be right back there Sunday against the Calgary Flames.
That's what we were talking about is, and we've had some really good back and forth with our chatters today. And, people saying, hey, look great against the Coyotes. Let's see it against better competition. Let's see it against the Flames. Yep. I'm here for it because and the other thing we were saying before you jumped on, Greg, was it's tough to look a kid in the eye after a performance like that and say, hey, excellent job. Here's your plane ticket back to Rockford, right?
No,
that's really tough.
Luke had said, he wasn't asked directly, but he had said while talking about Reichel that, different things that he could use. I'm just paraphrasing. He could use this, and the next game he can be better for it. So he didn't say, hey, he's playing Sunday, but the way he phrased that made it certainly sound like he's not heading back to Rockford, at least not in the immediate future. They may keep him around for a couple more games here.
Nice. Yeah, do like to hear that in that kind of context. Which I was trying to see. I see the reflection of the TV here in the glass. Was Alex Stalock made available? I know usually sometimes goaltenders aren't made available. Was Alex talking?
Yeah, we got to talk to Alex Stalock and Jake McCabe, the two heroes of the night. Alex was, very humble. He says you can't have a shutout. This was his 10th career NHL shutout in 136 starts, I think it is. So very, very, he's done it before, but he was very humble, saying, listen, you can't have any shutouts in the NHL without the team in front of you playing well. And he gave a lot of credit to the defense in front of him. Says they didn't get a lot of really good looks, and they did a great job of getting the puck out of the zone, one and dones. So he was very complimentary about the team in front of him. And Luke Richardson said something I love this quote, what he said about Stalock when asked about, the play where he came way out of the net. And then there was another play where he came out and thankfully his helmet popped off or was ripped off, however you want to look at that play. And the whistle blew. But Luke Richardson described Stalock as fearless, not reckless in the net. And I love that description of him.
Yeah, that's accurate. And man, that's a dude who's just stealing hearts here. And when they signed him, the three of us were like, oh, God, this is the ultimate tank signing. You know, we were saying, like, oh, when they play the Coyotes, those are the Stalock games. And now we're talking about voting him in as an all-star, and he absolutely deserves to be because
he shut out the Coyotes.
He's been terrific otherwise, you know. And without him, the Hawks would be the worst team in hockey. Oh wait, but he'd
be the worser team.
He's been outstanding. And tonight was no exception. In the third period, there was like a flurry of 3 or 4 shots in a row that he stopped, and he's solid. And every guy to a man in that locker room talks about his presence. You know, as a locker room guy. So, hey man, I love the guy. I'm glad he's here. And yeah, if they can turn him into an asset at the trade deadline, that's way more than you thought you were going to get.
Absolutely.
That's way more than you thought.
Even if they don't, I would have zero problem bringing him back for another year or two and letting him mentor some of your young goalies. I mean, he's as unorthodox as his play is. He's a cherished guy in that locker room. Everybody says such great things. Jake McCabe said how important it was for the team to get him the shutout tonight and how much it meant to them because Stalock is such a well-respected and well-liked guy in that locker room. Kyle Davidson always talks about high-character guys. It doesn't get much higher character than Alex Stalock. So, you know, if someone's calling and looking and you can get a 3rd or 4th round pick for him, that's freaking amazing considering, you know, as you said, what we thought about him when the signing was made. But if not, and you bring him back for another year or two and kind of be that bridge and that leader as we wait for Drew Commesso, Arvid Soderblom to start being that tandem that we're hoping they're going to become, you could do a lot worse than have a guy that the team wants to play hard in front of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we spent most of our time tonight talking about Lucas Reichel, but Brett Seney had a really nice game as well. Anything post-game from Luke on him?
Yeah, he used the word excellent to describe Brett Seney's game. Said he was very smart, made a lot of smart plays. He said he took a big hit early in that first period from a guy twice his size, but he did so to make the smart and correct play. So he earned a lot of respect from Luke Richardson. He says you don't lead the AHL in scoring if you're not a smart hockey player. So he liked what he saw out of him, and Seney was noticeable out there. He was effective. He had a couple, he was hard on the forecheck, high energy guy. Had a couple of scoring chances. Listen, if it was up to me and I had to choose for the rest of the season, Colin Blackwell or Brent Seney, give me Brent Seney all freaking day.
Boy, we had the Blackwelliest of Blackwell moments in this one where he had an open backhander and just fumbled it.
I feel bad, the
guy works his ass off.
Criticizing him because I like Colin Blackwell. He's a good dude, and he's all effort, but just sometimes it's just like, oh.
Sometimes it's too much effort.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Sometimes you just gotta just stay within yourself and do what your body allows you to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the 4th stars of the game. Number 3 star of this game was Seth Jones. He had an assist. He was +2, 3 shots on goal, 2 takeaways, 2 blocked shots. Excellent game for him.
NHL All-Star.
All-Star Seth Jones. Thank you. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah.
Jake McCabe. By the way, Seth Jones played 25-33. Ho-hum. Jake McCabe, your number 2 star. He had the Blackhawks lone goal with the goalie. +2, 21-53 of ice time. Led the team with 5 shots on goal, 3 hits, 3 block shots. The Ultimate Warrior, not the trademark Ultimate Warrior, but he is the Ultimate Warrior lowercase. And your number 1 star, of course, Alex Stalock with 23 saves in the shutout. So my 4 star of the game, a guy who showed really nice chemistry with Lucas Reichel. That's Philip Kurashev. He finished a +1, 4 shots on goal, 3 more shot attempts. He won 50% of his 2 faceoffs. Really great game for Philip Kurashev. And I love the kid. I love 23. Probably the best 23 in Chicago sports history.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any argument. I can't think off the top of my head anybody
Not
else that
at
would
all.
qualify. So
Yeah. No, I liked Kurashev's game. I think him and Reichel played well off of each other. I think their styles match up pretty nicely, and maybe we'll get to see more of that in the future.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That they had a really good game. That line was noticeable. There are a couple. My only criticism of that line, it was a couple times that Max Domi is passing when he should be shooting. Like, come on, man, it's your chance. Patrick Kane's not out there. Shoot first, pass second. But that line was really good. I want to see them against Calgary Sunday. I'm going to go with, I think for the second time in 3 games, future captain Reece Johnson. You talk about a guy that maximized his playing time tonight. He only had 10 minutes, 33 seconds of ice time, but in that time he had two shots, 7 hits, and 3 takeaways. Dude was a bowling ball all night. He was all over the place. There were a couple times where the Coyotes tried to rattle Stalock by making some contact late. He was the first guy there, and I love to see that. Especially, last game they had that play where was it Killorn that cross-checked Stalock after he got in his way and nobody did anything. Well, there are a couple plays tonight where they made some contact late. There was one play where somebody cross-checked Jason Dickinson into Stalock after the whistle. So nice to see them sticking up for their goalie tonight. And Reece Johnson, I think had the performance tonight that the whole spirit of the CHGO 4-star of the night was created for.
Absolutely. Yeah. I liked the physicality that Johnson and the rest of the Blackhawks had tonight. They weren't going to allow the Coyotes of all teams to come in and try and take some liberties and push and shove after the whistle. They weren't going to stand for it. So I like that they were able to step up and match that and not get pushed around and they're on their home ice. My 4-star of the night, I believe my memory serves me correctly, I did pick Lukas Reichel because he had a great game. And I think he was noticeable at different points of the game, definitely off the jump. Like we've said all night tonight, he was a different version of Lukas Reichel than we've seen, a better version of Lukas Reichel that we've seen at the NHL level. And like you said, this was the Ice Hogs version of Lukas Reichel, where he's playing with some confidence. He's making things happen in the offensive zone, and he's getting some chances. He's going to get more chances, and eventually those chances are going to fall. And Jay said it towards the end of the game. He was just like, "Do you really want Lukas Reichel's first goal to be on an empty netter if it had happened?" And I said, "Yeah, let the kid get his first, and let the floodgates open. It doesn't matter how it ends up in the back of the net, just that it does." And I think that does a lot for a young player. Even an empty net goal being your first goal, it's your first NHL goal. Like you get happy with that, you celebrate that, and you let that snowball in a good way. And my favorite thing to do during our 4th star segment is bring up our friends with the blue lines. And this is probably one of the better games that the Blackhawks have had all season. The top 5 Blackhawks, according to Game Score, had 0 negative impact on the game, and that included Jake McCabe, Seth Jones, Lukas Reichel, Max Domi, and Philipp Kurashev. So great performances by the top pairing and top forward line. Great job, guys.
Beautiful.
It's how you win hockey games.
All right, Greg, we're going to do the king of the game. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, DraftKings king of the game. Let's do it. You're never going to guess. That's right. It is Alex Stalock. 0 goals against. That's about as good as you can be. 23 saves. His 10th career shutout. Awesome game for Alex Stalock. Congratulations to him.
There's that number 23 again.
There it is.
Oh,
It's
no.
the magic number.
It's like a Jim Carrey movie.
23. That's it. He is our king of the game. So before we let you go, Greg, anything you want to add before we spring you?
I think based on some of the comments I'm seeing in the chat, you guys talked about getting to let's vote Jake McCabe into the All-Star game. We need to make this happen. He's seriously becoming one of my all-time favorite Blackhawks. His post-game meeting with the press was fantastic. He was obviously in a good mood, and he was giving us some crap right back. Mark Lazarus asked him about that shot, and he said, the goal, and he said, hey, is that a part of your offensive game? We're going to see you shoot more. And he's like, hey, Mark, I can shoot the puck. Everybody in here knows how to shoot the puck. Like, we're in the NHL. We could all shoot. And then they asked him about the speed of the puck at 89 miles an hour, and he said, and quote, yeah, the guys are giving me shit about that on the bench. He said it must have been a faulty puck for it to go that fast. So good stuff from Jake McCabe. He also was in awe of how big of a crowd there was tonight and have been in the last few games. Like, we're in the bottom of the standings, and our fans are still here and being loud, and he says it makes it just the best building to play in. And he's a guy that notices things around. He's a guy that gets pissed when they're losing. So to see him in a good kind of laughing, joking mood tonight was good. We need to get the campaign going on the Twitters to get him in the All-Star game. He deserves it. He's been the best Blackhawks from day one to right now.
I just saw the video of Jake McCabe shooting lasers into Mark Lazarus. Philip Thompson tweeted it. I retweeted it from the CHGO Blackhawks account. It is chilling. Again, if I'm listing people I would not want to fight, Jake McCabe is maybe top 5, because Chris Chelios, of all people, during the intermission reports, like, I saw Jake McCabe with his shirt off. That dude's jacked. It's like, that's Chris Chelios saying that.
Yeah, he's been around the block.
There is a look on his face 24/7, Jake McCabe, that is intensity and fiery, and like you said, he is my favorite current Blackhawk. I know, Greg, you love him too. We all do. The dude's a badass, and I know he's all he's doing is raising his trade value. But if there's one trade asset I would like to keep, that's the dude, because no locker room is worse off having a guy like that. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely not.
Put a C on that guy's sweater when you're ready to do it.
As much as I would hate to see him go, I would also love to see him get a run and a shot at a Stanley Cup, because that's a dude that deserves it. He's never had it. He's everywhere he's gone. He's played his ass off, but for a lot of bad teams, I would, as much as I don't want to see him leave here, I would be, whatever team he gets traded to, I will be cheering for in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's an easy guy to root
Except
for
the Predators.
if he were elsewhere.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Greg, thanks, man. We appreciate your time. We'll talk to you Sunday night after. We'll see you at the game.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
All right, take care, man.
All right, boys. Good night.
All right, that is Greg Boysen. Follow him on Twitter at Greg Boysen. Man, this show has flown by.
Yes.
We never really got a chance to get to our Patrick Kane topic.
No, but
we'll get to it after they lose to the Flames. We'll have time. That's for sure.
We have 2 super chats and some ads to read.
Yes, so we got to do our tank stuff, so we got to get through it. Thanks to the Lebowski 5 for the $20 super chat.
He really wants to make his point clear, Jay.
And it's a good one. He says, I don't think that Ethan Del Mastro maxing out as Seabrook is a stretch. Back in 2003, when Seabrook was a top 15 pick, a premium was placed on big punishing D-men. Now it's fast puck-moving D-men. Del Mastro plays like Seabrook. He wasn't offense first. Look, I think that if Del Mastro maxes out, yes, he could be Brent Seabrook. That's an absolute max out. It's not out of the question.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say he's the next Brent Seabrook. Brent Seabrook to me is like borderline Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. He is in the he leads the class of the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So if he's anywhere close to that, sweet.
Yeah, and Seabrook coming out of junior, I think, had a bit more of a goal-scoring ability than Del Mastro does, but that's not to say Del Mastro is strictly a defensive defenseman shutdown. That's what he's going to be. He has a bit of an offensive edge to him, but I think Seabrook had a little bit more coming out of his draft.
He had in his full seasons 39, 42, 41, and 54 points.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's some offensive prowess there.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Of course, it was a different, it was 22
different era.
The year 2000.
Yeah. Alan K also giving us a super chat for $2.
However, Del Mastro last year, 48 points in 68 games, 21 points in 22 games this year.
Yeah, he's picked it up this year.
He's putting up numbers too. So
yeah, there's a reason that the Sarnia Sting wanted to get him for a playoff push.
Sorry.
Alan K, a $2 super chat. I believe his second comment was going to be the actual super chat, which I think he was saying, let's try and collaborate with some of the other crews so we can John Scott the All-Star vote, piss off the NHL. We'll see what we can do to collaborate and maybe get this McCabe train going here. McCabe train?
McCable car.
McCable car. Ride the rails, the McCable car, all the way to Miami.
That was so clever by me. I'm going to pass out.
Great.
That was the most brain power I've used in months.
Should we do the play of the week?
Let's do. Well, we got to do that. We got to do tank standings and stuff. We got stuff to do.
Steven, are you ready with that pick of the week?
Yeah,
I am ready with that.
All right. Well, Steven is going to do the pick of the week because we're not prepared or good at betting.
All right, guys. So my pick of the week. There's a pretty big football game coming up on Monday.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought the Bears played Sunday.
Well, the Bears haven't played in a big game in a while. This
That's
is
since
Georgia
1985.
versus TCU.
No, 2006.
Georgia currently 12.5-point favorites in that one. I'm going to go with a team that's been there. Georgia beat Alabama last year by 15. I think that 12.5 points is a gimme for Georgia. Take Georgia to cover the 12.5-point spread there. They're going to run away with that national championship.
I tell you what, I tuned into the Georgia-Ohio State game last week with about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it was some of the most entertaining 6 minutes of football I have watched in a long time.
Both games were great.
Yes, the TCU-Michigan game was great because I love watching Michigan cry bitter tears. So that was great to watch that. I think it's going to be a great game, TCU and Georgia. It's going to be a lot of fun. College football is great. Give me a college football Saturday over any NFL Sunday.
College football is sweet. I love it. Now Notre Dame's got a quarterback.
Heyo.
Let's go. Well, Steven, producer, man, I'm looking here at our ad copy, and there is no DraftKings NHL ad copy in our copy log. So I'm going to do the NBA one,
Okay.
which I believe is basketball.
I've heard that, yes.
Okay. New year, same nonstop NBA action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you're new to DraftKings Sportsbook, you can place any $5 bet and get $200 in free bets instantly, win or lose. Plus, everyone can take a shot at scoring an even bigger payout with DraftKings same-game parlays. Can buy multiple bets, like which team will win, who will have the most points scored, and more. So you could have, is Clyde Drexler going to have more points than Charles Oakley? You could bet that if you had that app 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know who's in the NBA anymore. Steph Curry, LeBron James,
DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan. I know him.
Zach
He's on the
LaVine.
Bulls.
Io DeSumo.
Yes, Io, our
Yes.
teammate
Yeah, we know
and
him well.
Our
associate.
our coworker.
and our friend. Bet on Io to do good stuff with the orange ball.
Round ball.
Download the app now, DraftKings app that is. Use the code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly. That's code CHGO only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA and NHL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. We'll get that fixed for you by tomorrow. I don't want to read the wrong promo and have the promo be dead and then we get in trouble. So there you go. But you can also, of course, bet the NHL on
Yes.
DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yes, we did tonight.
Yep.
Yep. Also, if you didn't notice or if you didn't see it on our CHGO channels, the Bulls team headed to Paris. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Gonna play some basketball over there in France. Where am I reading this? ComEd facility. Hey, you want to save some money on your energy bill for the
Yes.
facilities that you own? ComEd can help you do that with their energy efficiency program. It's committed to helping families and businesses in the communities that they serve save money and energy. ComEd offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities, whether it's lighting, HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes. An authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project cost, potential incentives, and simple payback. Don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today. For energy saving tips, And to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz. And if you're ready to sign up for facility assessment, call them at 1-855-433-2700 during normal business hours, of course, and speak with a ComEd Energy Efficiency Program representative. You can also email them businessee@comed.com or request an assessment online at their website, comed.com/facility assessments.
Business ethics. That's all I can think of when I hear that read.
Business.
Billy Madison. It's a movie from the 90s.
Yes.
Mario. You'll see it someday.
Business ethics.
All right, time for the tank standing so we can go home.
Simple no.
Go home to
would
our
have done
families.
the same.
All right. All is not lost. The Blackhawks
don't
are
worry.
still your tank leaders with 22 points in 38 games. Columbus, 24 points in 37. They're second. Anaheim with 26 and 39. They are currently battling the San Jose Sharks, who are fourth with 31 and 39. It is 4-3 Sharks with about 13 minutes left in the third. So we are hoping for overtime in that one.
Let's go.
And then
Go
your
Ducks.
Arizona Coyotes with 31 points in 38 games. There's your top five. So there you have it. Now it is time to head over to Tankathon.
Ducks
our
versus
friends.
Sharks. That doesn't seem like a fair battle.
No, you'd think a shark would take down a duck very easily.
You lose that battle at least 9 out of 10 times.
I would think. I would like to see the duck that wins. That's one hell of a duck. It's the Jake McCabe of ducks. All right, let's do it. Let's get to let's spin the wheel here. How many likes do we have? 48 likes
Come on.
after a win. What are we? We shouldn't even spin it once. All right.
gonna whip-
If we get to 55, we'll spin it twice. All right, let's do the first spin here.
Ba-da-da-da-da. Oh, speaking of
hell
Sharks.
no.
San Jose, Vancouver, Chicago,
No.
Columbus, Anaheim.
No. All right, I'm doing one more anyway. 'Cause
like
I'm
this.
feeling nice. I don't want that. That doesn't sit well with me. All right, let's do one more.
One more. I think we had one banked. Oh, my God.
That's horrible.
Sharks again.
And
right, let's hope the
Florida
Sharks
gets the
win then.
second pick.
Well, it's Montreal. Because remember, that's the pick from the Ben Sherratt trade. So that is Florida's pick, but Montreal owns it. Oh. So there is a scenario in which Montreal gets 1 and 2.
Oh God.
Imagine that.
No.
I would not like that.
The league would hate that.
Oh yeah, the league would really. Someone asked me, "Do you?" So they asked us, "Do you think the NHL lottery is rigged?" And I honestly don't believe that. But if there was a time for a team to come away and rise from the depths of the NHL, it would be the Blackhawks this year, and it would be getting Connor Bedard. And it would be the frozen ping pong ball.
There is. Look, if I had to bet my life on it being not rigged, I would not make that bet.
I wouldn't either.
There are too many very convenient. Sidney Crosby resurrects the Penguins and gets to play with Mario Lemieux. Remember that? Remember when Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby were teammates? That was a thing that happened in the world of sports. Toronto gets Austin Matthews.
Edmonton wins 19 first overall picks in a row or whatever crazy thing it was to eventually land Connor McDavid.
And guess what? The Blackhawks get Patrick Kane. That was a bit of a jump too.
It's a big jump.
So I'm not fully saying. Look, I'm going to say I am 75% certain it's not rigged, but there is a significant portion of my mind that says, I think they make sure that if there's a team that's close that could really help the league grow, they help it out. And I'm going to say this too. This might be a hot take. Maybe we can get this sponsored.
Hot.
All right? It's not the worst thing
What's not
to
the
rig a
worst thing?
draft. Because for the good of the sport, you want your big marquee teams to do well.
For the good of the sport, Steven, if you can play a cash register sound, that'd be great.
I have one of those.
All right. For the good of the sport, you want your good teams, you want your big teams to be good. Look, Blackhawks or the NHL makes more money off the Blackhawks being good than they do off the Coyotes being good.
Correct.
Sorry, I know we get bagged on for saying we don't say good things about the Coyotes. Sometimes truth hurts. Like, ask Lizzo. Like, the Coyotes regularly lose the NHL money. The Blackhawks are not doing that. So what team is going to get you eyes on the league in a big market with a big fan base? Chicago or Arizona?
Yep. That's
Sorry.
no-brainer to me. So if the Hawks win, I mean, look, they're probably going to have the worst record, so
They'll have
fine.
the best odds to do it, in which I feel like we always have to clarify. Tankathon says 18.5. It's actually 25.5 because of the new rule in which a team outside of the top 11 cannot win first overall. So you're not trying to win the lottery against 16 other teams. You're trying to win the lottery against, it would be 10 other teams.
Yeah. There you have it.
Guys, you want the results of the poll?
Yeah,
Did
I
we
never
have a
mentioned him.
poll?
I
We had
never
a
mentioned him in
poll.
the
We did
first
a
place. So
poll.
Whoopsies.
we're running a poll. If you'd like to vote on it, was this the most entertaining game of the year? I say yes. I was looking forward to this game all day,
Yeah.
and I was pissed we had to leave.
Yeah, I would have liked to have stayed in the building for the third period. It was a satisfying win.
Yeah.
I don't know if the most entertaining. See, I was talking about this with Greg. My memory of games this year is like a 24-hour delete.
Well, they're
like
all the
I forget.
same.
Like we were, Greg and I were talking before the game. We were like, who did they play on Tuesday? And we like for a full minute we're like, I finally figured it out. It was Tampa.
Yep. Remember that?
So yeah, this was the most recent entertaining game for sure.
It was fun.
So you guys kind of sound 50-50 on if
I
this was
say
the
yes.
most.
It was to me. I was most entertained, but it helped that they won, though.
Well, the poll results are pretty reflective of this. Yes was 51%, so
Okay.
it wasn't
Oh.
that close.
Nice.
A majority.
Reminder, by the way, the home opener was pretty fun. The comeback win over the Red Wings, the overtime win.
Yes.
That was good.
Mhm.
That was a fun one.
Mhm.
But this one, I don't know. I was really looking forward to this one, maybe because it was Reichel and to a lesser extent Cini, but I was just I had this one on my calendar for a while.
The blown lead against Dallas, as far as entertainment value, was off the charts because that was what, a 5-1 game,
Yeah.
4-1, 5-1 that they blew the lead, and I was cackling my ass off as that game was unfolding. That one sticks with me.
Well, let's hope Sunday is as entertaining as all those.
Yes,
So,
that'd be fun.
either way, we'll talk to you after that. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at CHGO_Blackhawks, and make sure you like the show on your way out on YouTube there. We'd really appreciate that. And join us Sunday after Hawks and Flames on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.